Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's the final days of our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
We all know those GLP-1 injections work wonders, but that price tag almost gave me a heart attack when my insurance denied coverage. I was staring at a choice between paying my mortgage or paying for weight loss. Talk about a rock and a hard place. Then I found Elevate Health compounded semaglutide at just $58 with payment plans that don't require a second mortgage. Same medication, same results, but a price that real folks can actually afford. Visit joinelevate.com today. That's JOINELEVATE.com. Your wallet will be as happy as your waistline. This medication is not FDA approved.
Are you scouring the web for the best Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals? Stop it. Get Rakuten. Rakuten is a shopping sidekick that gets you cash back on gifts for everyone on your list. Right now, you can get up to 15% cash back at the stores you love. You can even stack cash back on top of the biggest sales of the year. That's savings on savings. It's more time shopping and less time searching. With Rakuten, you're always saving at your favorite stores on the things you're already buying. Cashback is automatically added to your account as you shop, and you get paid with gift cards, PayPal, or check. Or eligible American Express card members can even choose to earn membership reward points instead of cashback. It's truly a no-brainer. Now's the time to join. Up to 15% cashback ends on 12/2. Plus, new members will receive a welcome bonus after minimum qualifying purchases. Just go to Rakuten.com, download the app, or install the browser extension. That's RAKUTEN. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the King of Hearts podcast. Well, as you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube, I am in a very different location than I usually am in. That is because I am in Paris. I am in Paris. Je suis à Paris. Je parle un peu de français. I speak a little bit of French, but not that much to make it through Paris Fashion Week. I am here for Paris Fashion Week, and honestly, this month has been absolutely crazy, hence why I've literally had to book a studio in Paris because I haven't had time. I haven't had time to be in London. I literally haven't been in London. I just have been on my fashion grind, guys. I'm now apparently a fashion girly. But anyway, that's besides the point, because today we're not talking about fashion. We are talking about relationships. I love doing solo episodes. I actually want to do more solos. I feel like I have so many guests on my podcast, and I feel like you listening do like listening to my voice. Also, I'm really sorry, but my voice is really fucked right now. I went out last night, okay? I went out until 5 a.m. Love that for me. But honestly, it was my first night out in literally a month because I have been doing Fashion Month sober. So last night was actually the first night I drank and got drunk in literally a month. So that was super fun. I was with my best friends. Yeah, anyway, I could go on about this, but it was a very fun night. It was we went to this like French club in Paris and loads of beautiful people. And I had the time of my life, lots of shots. And now I'm here recording this episode. So I'm feeling okay, to be fair. It's just my voice does sound like 5 octaves too low than it usually is. But maybe it's kind of sexy. Maybe it's kind of demure. Maybe it's a little bit raspy. Maybe I did have a few cigarettes last night because I am in Paris, you know.
If you love me, let me fly away. Maybe I'll come back to you. Maybe I won't.
So, this episode, we are going to be talking about something which a lot of my friends have been going through recently, and maybe you're going through this at the moment, or maybe you have been going through this for years. I personally have been going through this a lot, which is how to let go of the potential of someone and to see them for actually who they really are. I feel like as women, especially if you're listening to this and you are a woman, we tend to do this a lot. we fantasize in our heads and we're like, oh my God, but like he could be this and he could be that and he could be this amazing career-driven person, but he literally sits on the couch and smokes weed every day and doesn't have a job. But it's okay because I believe in the potential of him and I believe in this beautiful idea of him, which actually doesn't exist in this present moment. So I'm going to teach you how to get rid of that and actually see the person that you're dating with real clear eyes and see them for who they really are. So let's get right into this episode. So I have a history in actually viewing guys for their potential and not for actually who they are. Because I feel like as women, especially as firstborn daughters, I listened to a friend of mine's podcast, Chiara, the Slumflower Hour, and she made an episode podcast about being the firstborn daughter. If you are a firstborn daughter, you will know that we do not have it easy. We've been raised to be the fixers, to look after everyone, to kind of be super hyper independent, which means that we end up getting in relationships. At least I do because I am a firstborn daughter. Listening to her podcast, I was like, shit, I actually have been doing that. I tend to get into relationships with guys that I want to fix, that I want to idealize in my head and paint this beautiful picture of them in some future moment, which actually is not who they really are right now. And you want to fix them and you want to like look after them and you want to pay for them and you want to just coddle them as if you are a mother. And we're not doing that anymore, girlies. We are not doing that anymore. At least I am not doing that anymore. Basically, in my last 2 relationships, actually most of my relationships, I've gotten into those relationships with kind of idealizing the person that was in front of me and not actually looking at them with clear vision. Like I had one ex-boyfriend, I had this vision of them that I really wanted them to be this successful, ambitious person and go out and get their dreams. And I kind of hyperfixated on like the potential of that person instead of actually looking at him with who they are, which was, he was going through a lot in his life and that's totally understandable. And he was going through some personal things, which obviously I won't go into, but, he wasn't ambitious and he wasn't going for his goals. And I was doing my career. This was like a few years ago and I was just starting to grow on TikTok and starting to grow on social media. And it was kind of like I was also going to university at the same time. So I was doing uni, I was doing my career, I was doing everything. And he was kind of like one step behind me. Not behind me because I don't want to compare our lives, but like he was just not on the same page as me. And I guess hyper fixated on this idea and it almost ruined the relationship because I was like so pushy on him of like, why don't you get a job? Why don't you study something different? Why don't you study tech? Why don't you study business and finance instead of, like art and music? Because that's not going to get you money. And I was like, even though I am in the creative industry, like I make TikToks for a living, like this is completely creative and I make money from it. So it's like you can make money in the creative industry, but I think I had this idea in my head of like the only way you can make money is through finance or tech or like just like the classic jobs, I guess. And it put such a strain on our relationship and it ended up destroying our relationship. It ended up ruining our relationship because I kept pushing this version of what I wanted him to be. And he wasn't actually that version himself. And he didn't want to be that version. And I kind of wanted to fix him and change him and have this vision in my head. As women, we are like architects in our mind and we want to like make a man exactly how we want them to be. And we want them to act this way and do this and be ambitious and be career driven. And they might not necessarily be that way. And it's like, you cannot force anyone to do anything and you cannot fix anyone. They can only do that work themselves. You can take a horse to the water, but you cannot force it to drink. This is like a motto that I literally live by. Like you can take a horse to the water and you can teach him and show him, oh, you should do this and that. And even with friendships, I'm sure you have a friend who keeps going back to the same ex. You can keep telling her, babe, it's time you stop going back to him because he is bad for you and he is a toxic ass piece of shit. Obviously not all men are toxic, but He was very, very, very toxic. And they maybe broke up 6 or 7 times. And I was like, girl, it's time to end it. And I don't know how many times I had to tell her that. You can tell your girlfriend as many times as you want, babe, do not go back there. He's a waste of time. He treats you like shit. He's a narcissist. He literally is so rude about you. He slut shames you. He's fat shames you, like all of these things. And she will still go back because they can take the advice and it can go through one ear and out the other. So this idea of this potential of someone is all in our minds. And I think as women, especially when we do meet a guy, we tend to make up this story in our heads of like, oh my God, like, firstly, we all envision the marriage. Like, let's be real here. We envision the marriage. We envision the kids. We envision everything. We met that guy once. We literally met him once and we're like, oh my God, I can't wait to get married to him. Oh my God, he would be perfect husband for my children. It's like, we as women need to stop living in the future in our minds and actually live in the present moment and be like, is this guy right now giving those qualities? And you need to look at it for what he is. Maybe he is, but most of the time he probably isn't. He's probably just figuring himself out. Everyone's figuring themselves out. Like, I'm figuring myself out. Am I ready to have kids? Hell no. I don't even have a boyfriend. But it's like this whole notion of like building this image of them in our heads, which isn't actually true. And you know what? We do the same with ex-boyfriends or ex-girlfriends. You know, imagine you have your first love that you never quite got over, and you have this whole idea of them in your head. And I'm speaking from my own personal experience. Like, when me and my first love broke up, I would fantasize all the time and like, I guess, put him on this pedestal and like fantasize about all the good times that we had together and how beautiful our love was and how passionate it was and how I've never felt this in love in my entire life, which is true partly. But then we forget, or I forgot, all the shit that he did to me and like all the bad things that he did to me. And like, even when we broke up, like he did these things and, you know, he sent me a picture of him with the boyfriend that I got after him. And I was just like, you know, that hurt me. And that's not a nice thing to do. It's like a big dig at someone. It was on my birthday. And like, I literally cried on my birthday because I was like, how can you care and love someone and just like stab them like that? Like, oh, look at me with like your boyfriend after me. It's just like, it hurt me, you know, it really hurt me. And I forget those parts. And I forget the moments where, you know, he didn't text me back, or he would leave me on red for 3 days, or we would break up, or he would block me out of nowhere. And it was like, we tend to like idealize people in our minds because we latch on to the good memories that we had with them and completely disregard and ignore the reason why you broke up and the reason why you're not together anymore. There is always a reason why you are not with that person. And I think as women, we have to constantly remind ourselves there's a reason why you are not together with that person anymore, because you weren't meant to be together, or maybe at least for now, you weren't meant to be together. And I also don't want to be in that motion of, okay, we were not meant for each other now. Like, maybe it's the right person, wrong timing. We can get stuck in that narrative as well, where it's like, oh, maybe it was the right person, but the wrong time. And maybe in the future we'll get back together. But it's like, listen, we're not living in the future right now. We're living in the present moment. And right now you're not together. And if you get in your head of, oh, what if, or maybe one day, firstly, maybe you need to have some closure with that person. Maybe you didn't get the closure that you needed with them. And maybe you need that. Maybe I need that, because I have had moments where I'm like thinking about my first love, and like, you know, I've had relationships after him and I'm just like, oh, it's just not hit the same. Like, you know, the first love, that first love gets you like, it wraps you up and like throws you down to the ground and rips you up into a million pieces. And I think that pain you also, or at least I did also enjoy. You get addicted to that pain of heartbreak as well. And I've not felt that deep emotion of love since my first love. And I don't know if I ever will, or if you do ever have the same love that you would with a first love. I mean, I don't know, because I don't think I've ever really been truly in love since. Obviously, I've had love for people, but it wasn't that like that heart-aching, heart-wrenching love that I had with my first love. And it's like, will I ever get that again? And part of me was thinking, oh, maybe one day, we'll come back together. But it's like, Chiara, listen, if I thought like that and I was like, oh, what if, that is going to stop me, and it's going to stop you as well moving on to opening your heart up to someone new who will actually love you, maybe in the way that you deserve to be loved, and maybe love you better, and you can have a stronger, deeper sense of love than you did it with your first love. Maybe you can still have love for that person, but you're not in love with that person still. And like, that's something I've been battling recently. I'm just like thinking in my head, like, oh, maybe I really needed that closure with my first love. Like, I never got that closure that I wanted with him. But it's like, sometimes do we need that closure, or do we get that from ourselves? Can we get that from ourselves? I don't really know. I'm kind of navigating this as I go. Like, I sometimes don't really know how to now. I'm 25 years old. Like, what, we ended like 3 years ago. We broke up like 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And since then, sometimes those thoughts come up and I just like push them away because I'm trying to move on with my life. Like, I'm fucking trying. But like, sometimes you can't help it. These memories just pop up. And it's like, I think if you are trying to move on from someone that you were super, super in love with, I think it's so important to constantly remind yourself of the person that they actually were, instead of the vision that you built in your head, this fairy tale idea of them, this pedestal that you put them on, that actually, thinking about it really, really, really logically and writing it down, that's not who they actually are. You've built this idea of them that is not real. They are a fantasy in your mind. They are this potential, actually, of the person that they are not actually in reality standing right in front of you. And also, if this is a person that you maybe ended quite a while ago with, you also have to realize that that person that you knew those years ago or those months ago is not the same person today. And they will never be the same as they were before. So you have to stop comparing that version of them, which doesn't exist anymore, and it will never exist anymore. So you need to let go of that version of them. And it's hard for me to do that because I think we idealize and we kind of live in those beautiful memories. And we're like, oh, but it was just so amazing. And like, oh my God, I was just so in love with him. But like, yes, that was amazing. But I think what we should do, what I should do and what you should do is actually appreciate it and be like, yeah, that was an amazing moment. I was super in love with him or her. I had this amazing experience with him or her, but that doesn't exist anymore. That was 3 years ago. That was 6 months ago. That's not going to be now. And you cannot think that that's going to be that in the future either, because people change, people grow apart. You know, we evolve constantly. Our life is all about change. Nothing is ever, ever, ever permanent in life. Nothing.
We're just going to take a pause there and we'll be back after this break.
Your friendships are going to change. Your family life is going to change. You're going to change. Your interests are going to change. Everything is constantly changing. How can you expect to idealize a version of someone that simply doesn't exist and simply has changed and is not there anymore? And I guess it's kind of mourning that idea of them and that fairy tale idea of that person and being like, listen, we need to kind of bring ourselves back to ground, to bring ourselves back to earth, because as women especially, we love to live in that little fairy tale land of like, everything's amazing and he was this beautiful, amazing person and maybe he could be this. Even if you're in a relationship right now and you are in a relationship with someone, or you're in a situationship with someone, this is another thing. Maybe you're in a situationship with someone right now and you're like, oh, but like, he could be this and like, he could be that. And oh, if he had this much money, or if he was in this job, or if he stopped going out so much, or if that's not actually them. And you need to get rid of that idea that you have of them and see that person for who they really are. Maybe you should write down in your journal tonight, or if you're sitting here right now, maybe take a moment to look at the person that's in front of you, or the person that you are idealizing in your head from a past relationship, or the person that you're in a relationship or in a situationship right now, a romantic situationship, and write down everything that is you want them to be, right? Everything that is in this fairy tale of they're this person and they're this beautiful and we had these amazing memories together and he's so spontaneous and he's so creative and he makes me feel this way and he makes me feel that way. And now on the other page, write down, what is he actually? What are his faults? Why did you break up? Why are you not in a relationship? Because you're maybe in a situationship right now. Why are you not in that relationship? Maybe he has commitment issues. Do you want to be with someone who has commitment issues? No. Do you want to be with someone who's, I don't know, not got their shit together and isn't ambitious like you are and isn't career driven like you? Sorry, I'm talking about career because I'm such a Capricorn. Like, I'm so all about the 5-year plan, or like, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? Because that's another thing that I really need to work on. I really need to stop, hence why I'm speaking about this today. I need to stop looking at the future version of someone and just see them for who they are right now. Like, I don't know, I was on a date with this guy the other day and he was like, yeah, like I'm working at this company, but like I kind of want to start my own thing now. And then there's me automatically like, oh yeah, when he has his own company, he's going to have more time for me and he's going to be autonomous and like, you know, he's going to work for himself like an entrepreneur. But like the real version that I'm looking at right now in this moment, which you should also be doing, is working for someone else in a company. He's on a low salary. He's not. And if that's the version that you really want to be with, then yes, that's amazing. But we tend to want to be with the future version of them, which we shouldn't be doing, because then we end up constantly getting disappointed and constantly getting let down. And honestly, living in the future just breeds disappointment. Having expectations, and an expectation is the literal translation of a hope of a future them. When you expect something, you are hoping that it happens in the future. Therefore, expectation always leads to disappointment. And I would have so many expectations of guys. I would have so many expectations. Oh my God, he needs to pick me up for dinner. He needs to open the door for me. I expect him to do this. And obviously it's important to have boundaries and it's important to have standards, obviously. Like, babe, he can't be taking you to McDonald's for dinner on a date. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying having expectations of like, he should be getting me flowers tomorrow. Like he should be doing this, or he should be. Let go of the should be, because you're shoulding all over yourself. Like, that's what my therapist tells me. Don't should anything, because you're going to should all over yourself, which means shit all over yourself. So just don't should anyone or should yourself either. Instead, you know, you should be dating people at face value. What are they bringing to the table right now in this moment? Ladies, I'm talking to you. Stop idealizing that man. Stop it. Same with the guys. Stop idealizing the girl and seeing this future of her. I think guys don't really do that much. I think as women, we like to build empires in our head and build families in our head because we have this fairy tale romance that I think maybe was instilled into us from childhood, of this like fairy tale Prince Charming, you know, like happy ending kind of thing, like wedding ring, you know, alarm, wedding bells. Guys don't really think like that. They're not like, oh, I can't wait to get married. They're just really, most guys that I'm friends with, they're not really like, oh, I can't wait to get married. I can't wait to pick out my wedding outfit, you know, like it just doesn't really happen. Whereas us women, we love to idealize, we love to like design these perfect families, like on Sims. Like it's really funny actually. I'm sure you've had this before. Who had Sims? Sims was like my life when I grew up in like when I was like 11, 12, 13. Sims was my life. You know why? Because I would get home every day from school and I had this like one crush at school. I actually had several crushes during like primary school and secondary school. And I would go on my computer in Sims, and do not tell me that you didn't do this as well, because we all know that you did. I would get home and I would get on my computer. I would get on my Sims. Sims 2 I had. Sims 2 Nightlife was the one that I was using. And I would build my family with my crush from school. I would build my family. I had my husband, that was my crush. Then I'd have my kids, And I'd motherload, give them loads of money, give them a nice big house. And then eventually they'd all die because I didn't know how to look after them. But then I'd kill them off and then I'd start a new family with my next crush of the week. If you didn't do this, you were not living the right childhood, because if you did do this, and I know you did do this, I know you did, if you're listening right now, if you didn't have Sims, it was something else, like some kind of like game on your phone or on your tablet or on your computer where you were building a family life with your crush. We've been doing this since a very young age, ladies. We've been idealizing, and I think it's time we put an end to that, because it only leads to disappointment. Because then we end up dating that person, and later on we're like, wait, hold on a second. This whole vision that I created in my head of them, why isn't it happening? I expected all of this to happen and it's not happening. Why is he not doing the things that I was expecting him to do? Why is he not working as hard as I wanted him to work? Why is he not making as much money as I wanted him to? Oh, I need to fix him now. I need to change him now, because he's not doing what I want. He's not doing what that vision that I had in my head. And we end up disappointed, and we end up in failed relationships. And I think the world would be a much simpler place if we stopped putting our partners or potential partners or situationships on this pedestal and viewing them for their potential instead of viewing them as they really are right now. And I think if we did more of that, women especially, I'm talking to you right now, I think we would be in happier relationships, because we end up, if we look at that person at face value, we actually end up happier. Because if you accept that person for who they are without building up this idea of them that they are not, and building up these memories, if it's a past relationship that you're thinking about right now, if it's an ex that you can't get over, if you keep doing that, you're never going to move on, number one. But if you were talking about if you're in a situationship right now, if you keep idealizing them, you're not going to be happy. Really, if you accept that person for who they are right now, you're never going to be let down. You're never going to be disappointed, because you are seeing them for who they are right now in this present moment. And this is why I am so strong and firm about like I'm all about the lists and doing like the non-negotiables list. I've talked about this in another episode, where you make a list of non-negotiables. Like, they have to be funny. They have to be, I don't know, over 6 foot. They have to be family orientated. They have to be cosmopolitan. They have to be well traveled, blah, blah. But also, I think it's super important to meditate. I think meditation is something that's really helped me accepting people. But not only accepting people, it's actually all starts with a relationship with yourself. The more you accept yourself, and I think it all boils down to acceptance of yourself before accepting someone else. When you accept yourself, funnily enough, everything becomes a reflection of how you view yourself. So for me, I have really struggled with accepting myself. I've really struggled with self-esteem. I've really struggled with self-love. I'm always constantly living in the future, and I'm always constantly living in like, okay, but what I have to do tomorrow, and like, oh my God, but I want to be there. And when I, hit a milestone and I hit something that I really wanted to achieve in life, it's always the next thing, then the next thing, and the next thing. And I never sit down and actually appreciate, and I'm grateful for what I've done and achieved so far. And I'm accepting what is actually right now in the present moment, my life. And the moment I started doing that, obviously I'm not perfect and I still do criticize myself and think too much in the future and constantly living in the future of like, oh, but I need to be there, I need to be there, I need to be there. But since I've been practicing my meditation, which I just do 10-minute meditation like every morning, just like breathing, but like grounding down and breathing, you tend to sit more in the present. And I've learned to accept myself more. And the more I've learned to accept myself more, funnily enough, you tend to accept people as well. You tend to start accepting the people around you. You tend to start accepting the relationships that you're in at face value. So I think it's super important to realize that no one's perfect either. No one is. And you can't expect anyone to be perfect. You can't expect the person that you're dating to be perfect. And if you do expect that of someone, why don't you expect that from yourself too? And I'm sure you can look in the mirror and see imperfections everywhere. But I think once you start loving those imperfections, you can start loving someone else's imperfections too. Yeah. that is what I wanted to talk about in this episode. I don't know how long it's been going on for, but I hope you resonated with anything I was saying. Stop idealizing that man. Stop idealizing your ex as well, because there's a reason why you broke up. And yeah, I'm in Paris, and I don't know where you are in the world right now, but I hope you're having a beautiful, chilled day or night, wherever you're listening to this. And if you like this episode, please subscribe, rate it 5 stars, leave a little review. I love reading your reviews. And if you want to share this episode on your Instagram story, tag me. I would love to repost it. I will see you next week on the next episode. Also, if you like me doing solo episodes, let me know, because I really like doing solo episodes. And I feel like I can really give myself to you when I am talking on my own. See you next week. Bye.
Maybe I won't.